I finally found someone else in the underground scene that just makes music that reminds you to have fun. And the more important thing about the album I'm about to review is I was listening to it and I'm like, this isn't like anything I've heard the entire freaking year. And that's a good thing, because all of the people that I've listened to this year have either had a sad song, and that sad song is basically the culmination of the entire album, and there's a bunch of sad songs around it, or there's a lyrical song, and then there's a few more of them in there, or there's something that fits in with the relative scene that I've been studying and watching for the last few years, but TruLove definitely does not go anywhere near that, except for uncredited, and I think that's a good thing. Now, a lot of his style, at least to me, the couple food bars that he had in the album reminded me of Action Bronson. Just the way that he approaches his songs is just very out there. And it's not saying that this makes for a strange album. If you're strictly listening to people that are in the underground, this is going to be something that is out of pocket for you. And it's not entertaining. It's extremely entertaining. It's only 7 tracks long. But TruLove put his all into this, and I kept thinking the whole time, I'm like, why does it feel like I'm not listening to X person or Y person? And why is it more difficult to try and narrow this down? Most of my listening this year has been based out of the underground. Like, I've barely made time to listen to major releases, unless if they're from people that I actually continuously go back to. Like, Danny Brown dropped his album on the 4th, and I listened to that yesterday and today. But if it wasn't for the constant amounts of ads and people hearing things and triangulating ads to revenue and all that crap to make sure I know that, I wouldn't have known. And I'm also a huge fan of him, so it was only right that I paid attention to that. And then there's some other people that have popped up too that I had to make sure that when the album dropped I knew about it. But it's just, his style is more towards how other people in the mainstream sense of hip-hop. And he is lyrical, but he's not so lyrical to the point that it's like, man, stop it. Just stop it. He has fun with his music, and that's the thing that I was reminded of with this entire project. You have to have fun, because whenever I record something, I have to at least get one joke out, or get one little thing out, or if I'm having a shitty time trying to get a take done, then I step outside of myself and I just make fun of the situation. Like, if I mess up a word, then I just laugh about it and keep rolling. It may be psychotic to some people because they don't understand how recording works. But if you get fed up with something, you have to understand it's only temporary. And that temporary motive that you have behind that specific moment you're pissed about the take that you had, you gotta realize that when the song's done or when that video is done, it's going to be freaking amazing. So, a little bit of advice for other people out there. If you're recording something and you get fed up with it, just make fun of yourself. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at? All the songs on here are extremely interesting, but the one that stood out to me was actually sent to me by Amethyst themselves. It was kind of strange to see the combination of styles on Uncredited. And when TruLove had his executed verse and his flow was on point, that's one thing about him that I enjoyed thoroughly with this entire project. His flow never lacked. And his topics varied immensely. Like, he could talk about being sad, but he could also talk about being up, being good, and it's important to have that variation. And I think I've kind of diverted my vision away from that, especially when it comes to listening to the few people that I have listened to and reviewed this year. Not saying that I'm falling into a rut, but when I quit to diversify my listening, then I'm kind of falling in line with everything else, and I won't know what other people sound like. So I really did enjoy this. Steve-O was definitely one of my favorites. very strange to hear Blue's Clues clips inside of a track, but also hitting the nostalgia pretty hard, so thank you for that. But all the songs on here are really good. I'm not sure if, or I'm probably going to butcher the name, so Skevin or Skeven. I don't know if it's you with your talking voice or one of you dudes on the track. I can't really tell, because when I was listening, it sounded really close to the same, but I don't know. And also, I kind of thought TruLove was 3M Shadow a little bit when I heard Uncredited the first time. I was like, is this guy, like, putting on a different persona or something? But the approach that you had with the entire album is great, and it definitely fits very well. Walking Contradiction is definitely what it is. If anything, it's a freaking Tyler, the Creator reference in an album. But I don't know if that's an inspiration for you. But nevertheless, it was a very enjoyable listen, and it's one of the most far-out experiences I've had the entire year. Not just for the Amethyst feature, but the entire project itself. It's a very good listen, and I highly recommend you guys listen to it. If you are unfamiliar with any of the people that I've mentioned, like Action Bronson or anything like that, I mean, look up those people. Look up Danny Brown or look up Action Bronson. Even look up Amethyst. You could see how the variation of Medusa to this project, it's totally different, because Amethyst is almost a chameleon themselves. But tune in next week when I review the new Ghost album, Outcast. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Stay selfish. Peace.